What's up, gang? After watching this video, I think we'll both have the same opinion that Marvin Gaye was depressed. He was abusing drugs, he had an abusive father, and he wanted to die and orchestrated his own death. As far as suicide by pops, he had one of them daddies that was like, I brought you in this world and I'll take you out.
Was you deeply, profoundly disappointed when you didn't make that team at the Detroit Lions?
I was disappointed to tears.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna tell you why you know why you didn't make it. One thing. Remember you used to ask us to pray for you? That's one time I didn't pray for you. I won't tell you why, because I didn't want them to break you up. And the only thing I could see and visualize my boy on the stretcher the first time somebody hit you, carrying you out. Remember you told me when you trained with them somewhat, they found they hit. I said, well, they naturally be easy on you. I said, but wait till those opponents come in there. You remember me saying that?
No, I could take it, you know. I did good. I went through a month at Eastern Michigan, and they had a pretty tough bunch of guys up there, and we hit every day. You know.
They really did. They hit you. You didn't feel they lighten up on you?
Well, I don't know. I didn't get hurt, you know, just a normal bumps. But you can get hurt, you know, but I feel like football is a strange sport. I can play football. If I can get in shape with maybe, I'm probably too old now, but if I were not too old to play, I have the mentality to play football. I know I do, because, you know, whatever deficiencies you may have as an athlete on a football field, if you use your brains along with your ability, you can generally negate, you know, like if a guy's stronger than you, if you're a little quicker, then you can negate his strength somewhat, and it goes like that. So, you know, I have the mentality to really play the game. That's why I never really got hurt, you know. But I could have played.
I'll never forget the day when you left home, you got in that station wagon with Mr. Horace Fickle, and you bumped your knee on the door, looking up to tell me goodbye. And I waited till you goodbye, and that's when you left home and things began to move there. And you went through a period of, I guess, little hardships, which is a part of a person's bring them up and a part of their, you know, building them up. And finally, when you first put out your first record, seemed to me, I was surprised along the way. I said, here's a dream come true. I had a lot of dreams about you, and I saw it, didn't I? And then after a year, he's doing the very thing which he told me he would do with that form of training. I'll never forget that picture, you getting in that car. You would be surprised the feeling the parents has when they see their children leaving, going out in the world, not knowing. And then those days, you know, juvenile delinquency was prevalent all over the nation. And we understand we can get this feeling, oh, I hope you don't go anywhere and get into trouble. So we had to live with that. And by you not getting into trouble, that was a great burden off your mother and our minds and our hearts. And I'm going to give to you now, before these cameras and for these people, I think you're one for myself. As long as I know you have a humble mind, and as long as you know there's a God upstairs, you can call on him and respect the people, I think you're a real wonderful person. I'm going to give that to you as my son. And I'm proud of you, really am.
This is a song about a beautiful little girl. A girl I love. We did it on our album. We thought you'd enjoy it. We thought we'd sing it for you tonight. I know how good it's gonna be, but here we go. Janis is my girl. In all the world, there's no one sweeter. I'll tell you, girl. Hold her tight, love her right deep down inside. Till my body gives no more. Oh, baby, there's no world without my loving baby. Oh, without Jane. Life would be tragic for me without Jane. Janis is unique. when she goes to sleep. I kiss her face, think I'm the luckiest man. I'm her greatest fan. There is no sweeter girl in all the land than my
Here you have this long relationship with Marvin Gaye, with the ups and downs and so forth. But then in 1984, it was announced that he was killed by his own father.
Yes.
This happened on April Fool's Day, so you assumed when you heard on the radio that it was just a sick joke.
I assumed it was a sick joke. I absolutely did. I was actually coming from the golf course. And at that time, you didn't have no cell phones and all that, there was still phone booths. And the guy comes on, it's April Fool's Day, it's April 1st. And he comes on, he says, soul singer Marvin Gaye was pronounced dead on arrival at so-and-so such as. And I thought to myself, well, that's a horrible April Fool's joke. That's not even funny. What is he doing? That's not funny. So I switched the station. And when I switched the station, another guy. Yeah, soul singer Marvin Gaye. And so I stopped the car, went into the gas, I stopped the car, went to a phone booth, and I called Anna. And she answered the phone, she said, hello. And I said, hello. And she said, oh, baby, she recognized my voice. She said, yeah, I know why you called me, and it's true. She said, his father shot him.
And you started crying.
Oh, absolutely. I could not believe that.
Did you know his father at all?
I never knew his father at all, period. To this day, I don't think I've ever met his father. Yeah. I always wished after what happened, his father killed him, or what it was, that I had known about his relationship with his father. Because it was turmoilic and traumatic for all of Marvin's life. I didn't find that out till he was dead. I always felt like if I had known that, maybe I could have talked to him and said, hey man, so-and-so and something, But I didn't know anything about his father basically until after that happened.
Marvin was staying at his parents' house. He was taking drugs somewhat during this time. And I guess his father and his mother started getting into an argument over some insurance forms that he claimed that his wife had misplaced. They got into like a physical altercation. And then I guess Marvin got into some sort of physical altercation with his dad. His dad came in and shot him 2 times. And I guess when the police came and they asked what happened, and they asked his father if he loved his son, his father said, let's just say I didn't dislike him.
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
I can't answer to any of that. I know that his mother just said that he and Marvin had a fight.
Yeah.
And she said then his dad came. And the killing part about that is that Marvin had given his father that gun.
Yeah. To protect the house.
Yeah, he gave him that gun to protect the house. See, Marvin in the last few months of his life thought someone was trying to kill him.
Oh, the drugs were making him paranoid.
He was paranoid and he thought someone was trying to kill him. He'd get on the elevator and punch every floor so he wouldn't know what floor he got off on. And he thought someone was trying to kill him because the drugs had just taken him to that point, So he gave his father the gun to protect the house in case somebody came in there to get
him. They could, all that. So it was ironic, and I think about it all the time. I think about it now. And someone was trying to kill him.
Yeah.
He was trying to kill him.
He was trying to kill himself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, such a talent, such a loss.
Yeah.
They came to say goodbye to a prince of soul, Marvin Gaye, a singer who died before his time. Behind the casket bearing him came his mother, her situation all the more tragic because it's her husband who's accused of killing their son. It was a religious occasion for a man often troubled by life who was now finally at rest.
Forgive us our trespasses, Father, as we forgive those who trespass against us.
We should be happy to know that in the spirit of what he was as a human being and the spirit of his music, Marvin is with us.
Wonder was just 11 years old when he first met and played with Marvin Gaye. This day, he chose to remember his old friend with a new song.
Lighting up the candles, lighting up our love.
When the others had spoken, comedian Dick Gregory delivered the eulogy. He talked of a musician who broke new ground, of a friend whose smile was like a good day in June.
I like to raise people's consciousness, he said. I like to give them hope. Well, Brother Marvin, you did that. And you did it with class and warmth and love.
As the mourners filed past Marvin Gaye's casket, the service ended with his music, played by those who performed it with him.
He said he shot him one time and he started to slump. And he slumped down on the floor. Mother Gaye said he shot him the second time.
Soul singer Marvin Gaye has been shot dead at his father's home in Los Angeles. From Los Angeles, Steve Futterman.
According to the police report, the father took out a handgun and shot Marvin Gaye 3 times. He was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital.
I was driving home, listening to the radio, and the disc jockey interrupted the program to say soul singer. I knew, I hear it in my mind like it happened today. Soul singer Marvin Gaye was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. So no, I don't buy this. My heart, my innards won't let me accept this. So I get out of my car, there's a phone booth right there. And I go to the phone and I call Anna. And I say, Anna, this is Smoke. She said, yeah, baby. I didn't even have to ask her. She said, yeah, baby, it's true. His dad shot him. What? What?
Determination of competency, they discovered a very serious walnut-sized pituitary cranial tumor. And that tumor was removed in a state-of-the-art way through the nose. They didn't have to go and remove it through the cranium. He was further found to be competent. And after that, we went back into the system, and the system worked in every respect. This was a case of self-defense. This was a case of self-preservation. People tend to take themselves so darn seriously, and I can only say, we don't want this ever to happen again. So stay cool.
Can you talk about the terms of the psychiatric treatment, the terms of the probation? What will that involve?
That's going to be left up to the probation department. The judge hasn't suggested what that will be. That'll be between the probation officer and Mr. Gaye.
Mr. Schiff, you made some comments in court about Mr. Gaye's physical condition.
Yes.
I wonder if you could amplify on that a little bit. You're saying that he has deteriorated physically since the tumor was removed?
Yes. His health has just gone downhill from the first day we've ever met Mr. Gaye. It's been a constant downhill.
What is he suffering from now? Heart disease or what?
I don't think I could say what it's diagnosed as, but from my own observation, I would say he's suffering from extreme depression and some sort of heart disease. He's suffering severe pains in his heart and his chest.
I would, however, say that he was pleased when he walked out of the courtroom.
Could you repeat for us what he said to the judge?
I'm sorry?
Could you repeat for us what he said?
He basically thanked the judge for his mercy. He told the judge that he loved his son. He told the judge that he wished that this didn't happen. He told me that he wished that this didn't happen. He told Mike he wished that this didn't happen. I wish it didn't happen. We lost a great artist. We lost a wonderful singer. Dare we forget, the marvelous moments that Marvin, meant to all of us. But Marvin was a tragic figure, a very tragic figure. And Marvin met an end that Marvin engineered, I believe.
Mr.
That's
Gold,
my personal belief.
A lot of his fans expressed outrage at the shooting. How do you hope they will react?
I hope they'll react by accepting the very gracious philosophy of the prosecutor's office and the court in doing no further trauma to the family. Don't do any more trauma.
I might add,
with that.
as far as the fans are concerned, the outrage of the fans, I think, was more at the beginning before the full facts were revealed. And I think now that through the media, if the media exposes what really happened that day and the fans are aware of it, I think they will feel the way the court felt for Marvin Gaye Sr.
Mr. Gould, what about Mrs. Gaye? As far as I understand, she did not support.
No, that's not true.
Mrs. Gaye, in fact, posted bail for her husband, and this was after that wasn't true.
Well, what is her? Where is she now?
Mrs. Gaye lives in town.
Sitting on the sidewalk. If we did not feel
this is proper in this case.
Yeah, I agree with the judge. I think it would kill him. I don't know. You saw his condition. I don't know that he'd last through even maybe a 90-day diagnostic study out of Chino. He's really fallen apart.
From indications in the case, this was considered to be a case of self-defense, that the defendant had been attacked, in fact. Why then any probation or any sentencing at all? Why not a straight acquittal?
Well, he pled. He entered a plea, no contest plea to the voluntary manslaughter. So if he wanted a straight acquittal, he would have had to go to trial for it. Since he pled that it's going to be a probation period.
Do you believe justice has been served in this case, then, the way things turned out?
Yeah, I think so.
There are those who would not agree with you because, after all, a person is dead.
I understand.
Would you define this as a crime of passion, or what would you say to people?
Well, voluntary manslaughter is a crime of passion. It's difficult not seeing the pictures of Mr. Gaye Sr. and the bruises that were inflicted upon him to probably for the public to understand the fear he may have been feeling at the time. It's one of those cases, it's situational, it's a family member, and Mr. Gaye, based on his age and his deteriorating physical and emotional abilities at this time, I can't, it's just hard for me to say the man should go to prison. He did 80 days, plus with the credit he'd get approximately 4 months of time in county jail, and the probation report was favorable to him. If the probation report had come back unfavorable, maybe we'd be in a different position. They were recommending state prison or something, maybe we'd be in a position of...
He shot in self-defense, then, you're saying?
I don't think he shot in self-defense, no. No, I think he shot in a situation that amounted to a voluntary manslaughter. Actually, I think my opinion is that it's between a second-degree murder and a voluntary manslaughter, but when you're litigating a case and someone's willing to plead to the voluntary manslaughter and the chances of getting a second are there but maybe not in your favor, then I took the plea to the voluntary manslaughter. But no, if I thought it was self-defense...
What are you defining then? If it's not self-defense, he was in fear for his life?
No, I'm saying in terms of the murder case being knocked down to a voluntary manslaughter. I think there's legitimate fear for his life, but I think that he also had enough of a situation that he didn't have to get a gun and shoot his son. I don't think this... See, he describes the situation differently than his wife does, and obviously we were relying on the wife's version in the prosecution. Now, by entering a no contest plea, he's not really challenging any of what we were relying on. So I'm not getting into it. He feels he shot him in self-defense. That's what he still feels at this time. I don't think that was the situation involved in the shooting.
Are you entirely satisfied with the way the case came out then?
Yes.
No
If
reservation?
there had not been a gun in the house, then Marvin Gaye Jr. would still be alive.
Most likely, yes. Yes.
The back page first. I'll look at mine. What does it say, suitable damage? That dog. Is that right? You're fine.
Legal cause?
No.
Any comment?
I'd submitted on the plea agreement.
Which was?
1 year concurrent with the 360 days he is now doing.
All right, Mr. C, the state prison today, I would have chosen the midterm. You'll be on formal probation for a period of 3 years. You'll do 365 days at 15 days good time, 15 days work time, no county parole. You make restitution for the damage to the, is approved by the probation officer.
Morning, Your Honor. I'm Barry Gold and my shift for Marvin case.
All right, and Mrs. Brackey for the people. This is the time for probation and sentence. I've read the probation report. Have you, Mr. Gold?
Yes, Your Honor, I did read it.
And have you, Mr. Schiff?
Yes.
And have you, Ms. Brackey? Waive arraignment for judgment?
So waived.
Any legal cause?
None.
I'll hear your comments.
Thank you. Your Honor, with reference to the circumstances and mitigation, which I feel support a straight probation imposition, the victim was, in our opinion, the aggressor and the provocateur. He inflicted a severe beating to the defendant contemporaneous with the shooting. We have pictures of the defendant by the booking officers to confirm that beating and the severity of that beating. The beating was witnessed by one witness, the defendant's wife and the victim's mother. You will recall that the defendant had a suprasellar brain tumor removed from the cranium, which lent him to believe that danger was imminent, that he acted in self-defense and in self-preservation. I concur with the statements of the very fine team of investigators in this matter, who indicated that they felt that the shooting was isolated, they felt that the shooting was situational, and that the defendant poses no threat to society.
Had been suffering from this tumor for God knows how many years prior to this event. The tumor was removed. The removal of the tumor, unfortunately, has not had a lot of effect on Mr. Gay's physical condition. His physical condition has actually deteriorated from the time the tumor was removed. Mr. Gay also suffers else. Mr. Gay is extremely sorry for what happened. As Mr. Gold pointed out, the loss. Since April 1st of this year, Mr. Gay has had to live with this and will have to live with this for the rest of his life. He wishes, as Mr. Gold said and as Mr. Gay said to the probation officer, that his son could walk back through this door. As far as I said, as far as any further time in custody, I just don't think it's warranted in this case, Your Honor. I think we should send Mr. Gay home to live out the rest of his life. I don't think society has to worry about Mr. Gay ever committing another crime of any kind. He has never had any confrontation with the law in his 71 years until April 1st of this year. He's been a law-abiding citizen. He's a retired minister. I don't think he's even had a traffic ticket. So I think justice would well be served, Your Honor, by a straight probation grant.
I might indicate one more thing, Your Honor. Mr. Gay did do 80 days, or approximately 80 days in custody prior to bailing out. And he also informs me that he no longer drives, so...
No. Mrs. Brackey?
Yes, Your Honor. It's a good probation report from Mr. Gay. They recommend probation with a suitable time in county jail. It's difficult for me to ask for additional time when the report is as good as it is on his behalf. I don't know what purpose additional local time is going to serve. It's almost the case of, unless you're going to impose a state prison sentence, I think imposing additional local time doesn't do any good in this kind of case. Based on his physical condition, the fact that he is barely able to get out of the house at this point, I agree with the defense attorneys that I don't think he poses a threat to society at this point. And it's one of those situations where he, based on his age, and the police officers involved, their recommendation that he spend no more additional time in jail, it's difficult for me to argue for more time based on all the circumstances surrounding this case. I'd have to agree and go along with the probation officer's recommendation, but would like to make it clear that the DA's office would like Mr. Gaye to receive some psychological or psychiatric counseling as a condition of probation.
I agree with all of you in this case. Sending him to prison or requiring any additional county jail time would be a death sentence. Mr. Gaye, I'm going to impose and suspend the midterm of 6 years in state prison and strike the firearm use clause. You'll be on probation with the probation officer of this county for 5 years. I will not require that you do any further county jail time in this matter. I understand that, gentlemen, that he is practically destitute. Is that so?
I think that's a fair...
He has some property, but he has very little, no income and very little cash.
And that if I imposed a money fine, it would be for all practical purposes uncollectible?
Yes.
What about the possibility of community service? Is he mobile enough to do that?
I don't think so, Your Honor. I think I just indicated to the court that he no longer drives. He spends, as Mr. Schiff said, most of his time in and around the house. And as much as the community might benefit from service by Mr. Gaye, as community does tend to benefit from service by its citizens, I just don't see this as a case that would be appropriate.
All right, I'll require that he submit to psychological treatment as directed by the probation officer at his own expense, that he obey all criminal laws, federal, state, and local, bonds exonerated.
Thank you kindly.
This is one of those terribly tragic cases in which a young life was snuffed out, and apparently a young life which was fairly productive in the field of arts and entertainment. And under the circumstances, it seems to be agreed by everybody, including the very able and experienced investigating officers in this case, that the young man who died tragically, provoked this incident. And it was all his fault. You're free to go, Mr.
Your Honor, Mr. Gaye would like to make a statement to the court if the court would hear it.
I mean this from my heart. I wish I could do it back. I wish, I just really, it's killing me. I'm sorry. It's something I regret. It's always until I die. And I like being my God, stepping there doing now. Because what happened, I'll make it short. I was afraid, and what I went through, I didn't know what to do, and he was coming back at me again and again, so I love him. And I love him right now. And I'm paying the price for it too, I really am. God knows I'm telling you the truth.
Part of the tragedy, Mr. Gaye. You're free to go.
Thank you, Judge. Mercy said, thank you for everything. It means my heart.
Most notorious murders in music history. Here's what we know about his final moments and his final words. On April 1st, 1984, a retired minister, Marvin Gaye Sr., shot his son, Marvin Gaye, twice with a .38 caliber pistol. His son slumped down against the far wall and lay there bleeding out. The gun had been a present from his son for Christmas that year. Marvin Gaye, the musical legend known as the Prince of Motown, died a day before his 45th birthday. His father shot him in what some saw as an inevitable outcome of their troubled relationship. Gaye had gone so far as adding an E to the end of his name to distance himself from the man who had abused him his whole life. Gaye was born on April 2nd, 1939 in Washington, D.C., and suffered under the strict corporal punishment liberally doled out by his father. Even before his son was born, Marvin Gaye Sr. already seemed to have a problem with him. Alberta Cooper Gaye told David Ritz in his book, Divided Soul, The Life of Marvin Gaye, "My husband never wanted Marvin, and he never liked him." Marvin Gaye Sr. even went so far as telling Alberta he didn't believe Marvin was his son. Gaye's father was a minister in the Hebrew Pentecostal Church, but that didn't stop him from physically abusing his children or becoming violent when he overconsumed alcohol. Marvin Gaye found solace in music at church and believed he could win his father's love through singing.
In this life, I love music, and music is my love, you know, it's all I know.
Still, the better he became, the more demands his father made on him. If not for Gaye's mother, Alberta, who consoled and supported her son, Gaye himself claimed he might have died by suicide as a child. Instead, Gaye, tired of his father's abuse, quit school at age 17, ran away from home, and joined the U.S. Air Force, which ended disastrously, with Gaye faking a mental illness to get a discharge. By the early 1960s, Marvin Gaye had found a home at Motown Records, starting as a session drummer before making the leap to singer. He had a string of hits in the 1960s with songs like I Heard It Through the Grapevine and Ain't No Mountain High Enough, a duet with Tammy Terrell. His success only grew into the 1970s with What's Going On and Let's Get It On. The more successful Marvin Gaye became, however, the more his father seemed to resent him. By 1981, Marvin Gaye had become addicted to cocaine, declared bankruptcy, and endured 2 failed marriages. Moreover, the IRS hit him with a massive fine for unpaid back taxes, and he eventually attempted suicide. Later, he moved to Belgium, got clean, and made a comeback with the 1982 album Midnight Love and its mega hit Sexual Healing. Unfortunately, once he was back in the music scene, he began using cocaine again. The last 4 months of his life he spent living at the Los Angeles home he had bought for his parents. Living under the same roof, Marvin Gaye and his father's relationship disintegrated once more. The final fight between Marvin Gaye and his father began on Saturday night, March 31st, 1984, when the elder man became angry with Alberta over some missing insurance papers. The fight continued the next day and became physical. Gaye Sr. later alleged that Marvin Gaye had been punching and kicking him. Marvin Gaye Sr. then left. Soon after, he came back into the bedroom and shot his son. Alberta called Gaye's younger brother, Frankie, who lived next door. As Frankie held his dying brother's head in his lap, Marvin told him, I got what I wanted. I couldn't do it myself, so I made him do it. Marvin Gaye Sr. later pleaded no contest to 1 count of involuntary manslaughter, was given 5 months of probation, and died in 1998 at 83. At his sentencing, he said, I'm sorry, I loved him. If I could bring him back, I would. If you or anyone you know needs help with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP-4357.
I was pretty large when I came back, actually. So, in order to perform and to be energetic, you sort of got to get the weight off. You know, well, I've been at it a few years, so.
Do you want me to pour you sugar?
No. I'll pour this. It's very nice.
You want some
Thank you.
sugar or?
That kind, yes, yes, of course.
Kind, or the make-believe kind, the kind that we'll have our left arms drop off when we.
She missed that, didn't you?
We got it all.
Not really.
I got it. Listen, I'm a little slow today. I'm gonna bear with me. I'm gonna be one of those. Oh yeah. My husband said
you
that.
You must work very hard, Pat.
Well, we have weird hours.
Yeah.
My husband told me what he said was a wasp joke. Alex, see if you get this joke. Joe said this is a wasp joke. Oh, see, I get it. See, she got it. I didn't get it. You see, that's why you got it. That's right. Half and half. She got half the joke. How you fix,
we were having fish today. And the guy who cooked the fish, today, he took me over to meet the bartender, you know, at the restaurant. So he says, he busted the bartender. He says, "This is Marvin Gaye." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, it's nice to meet you." So the cook who I did an autograph for told me, he said, "You know what this guy?" He said, "He didn't know." He said, "Because all you guys look alike." So they all look alike. So he said, "No, we're all just a little happy family." You know? I said, "I can understand that. It's funny."
That's wonderful. We are ready.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
I ever thought that was Orientals. No. It's be us too, huh?
Yeah.
I love it.
Sexual healing.
I'll slide under the table here.
At the very mention of the song.
At the very top of the show, yes.
Sexual healing, a huge, giant, enormous hit. Are you surprised? Are you surprised that one is the...
I am very surprised. Are we on the air now? Mm-hmm. Got to cut that sort of thing out.
Yeah, I'll start again. Yeah, I'll take it again.
No, it's all right. I'm very surprised and sort of not surprised. I'm a person, Pat, who is rather strong-willed. I guess I'm strong-willed. I'm an artist, basically. I like to think of myself that way, and I don't like to think of being a commercialist totally. But of course, being one can't have hits except one is commercial, but I wouldn't like to think that's my That's my motivation. I think my motivation is to, at this point in time, is to get media coverage and exposure, because I feel there's something much greater in my life in the future to come. I'm a great believer in God, and although you wouldn't think that my records don't suggest that, I guess, but perhaps I'm going around the barn a different way to get to a place, but actually all that my records suggest and all of the publicity I get about sexuality and my sensuality and my records and all that kind of stuff is true to an extent, but not totally Marvin Gaye, I wouldn't think.
Are people fixated on that part of it, the sexuality part, and not really listening to the music and what you're trying to do?
Wait, I can't have them smoke.
Oh, you can't have them smoke?
No? Oh, that's,
Because I can't.
okay.
Oh.
You can futz and play with it, but you can't.
Can't actually light it up.
Yeah, you can twirl it around, though. And
Oh, no, it wouldn't do me any good, actually. That's all right.
misunderstood, perhaps.
As an artist?
And too much fixation on the literal meaning of sexual healing.
Well,
why are people in 1983 even concerned about this?
Well, I don't know. I think I've done many albums in my lifetime, and some have been good for people, some have been bad, some have given people much inspiration, and some have inspired people sexually, some have inspired people spiritually. I'm not hypocritical, as though I said before, my albums might suggest it. I like a lot of sugar too, don't I? But the thing that's important is that, as I said before, that I reach whatever plateau I'm supposed to reach, so that my credibility is number one, and when I finally do have something to say that I feel should be beneficial for the world, and I feel the world is in an awful state at the time, and I feel in the future that somebody will have to say something and have some credibility, and coin in those who are coinable. Everybody won't make it in, whoever in is. I need to go into that. And of course I need credibility to do that. And so I won't have it unless I'm on top. And I sort of feel that that's why the Heavenly Father blesses me with this kind of success. And I think I've learned to take it with the kind of grain of salt that one should take it with, and not have such a big head about it. And as I used to have when I was much younger, I don't think of my success at this time as from an ego point of view. I am very proud and very happy, and I have a tremendous ego, somewhat subdued presently, but it surfaces now and then, but I try to keep it down. But I really feel that I'm a bit misunderstood as an artist, because I don't think that people understand record artists and music artists in the same light that they understand painters or dancers or other forms of art and artists. And I feel that there's absolutely no difference, except that my media is music, and I don't really care about a lot of things material and what people say and do and things. I'm only concerned with my art.
Is the hit record, in this case it's Sexual Healing?
Oh, the money's okay.
The money's okay, but there's leverage there, and
I don't really care about that either too much.
But it's a currency. It will allow you to. It's a currency on both levels, but it's a currency that gives you this credibility you're talking about. More hits you have, the more on top you are, the more willing people are going to let you talk, say what you want.
No, it's just unfortunate that this is such a materialistic world, and in order for people to give you the kind of, what shall I say, acceptance, the kind of prestige that you would like to have them talk about you, and you have to sort of engage yourself in this material warfare. And I'm going to play the game at this point in my career. That's what they want. That's what I'm going to do.
The hit record brings not only money, but status again, then, doesn't it?
Yes, and that's what's important to me.
He's back on top.
I don't know where that is. Never did, actually. I'm awfully afraid of getting there. It isn't, I don't know where one can go after that. It looks to me like down. So I wouldn't like to get there too soon. Soon ripe, soon rotten, my mom used to always say.
You've had a down period along the way. 1975 was not a particularly good year.
not for wine. The wine is right. This is a good year for wine, actually. For me, what shall I say about 1975 through 1983 hasn't been very good. In fact, the last 7 years of my life haven't been exactly ecstatic for me. I haven't been ecstatic. I've been happy and somewhat, most of the time, pretty depressed. But my depression is, I think, because of my empathy for humanity and my feelings for the world and things. And I'm awfully upset when I have to do things to achieve a certain amount of status so that I might be able to do something else so that people will listen to me. So if I have to do sex so they can listen to social topics that might be viable, I'll do sex first.
It gets them into the tent.
Perhaps, maybe not.
What is the most absolute... Okay. What was the absolute rock bottom worst moment in the last 7 years?
Well, the absolutely worst rock bottom moment in the last 7 years when I tried to commit suicide through an overdose of cocaine.
How long ago was that?
It's not too long ago. Well, it's about 3 years ago in Hawaii. I was in an emotional state of... I guard my heart pretty well these days because I'm afraid if I ever fell in love again and I met the wrong woman, I don't imagine I'll live. I have a very fragile heart. Now, I put on a pretty roughish exterior and it's pretty thick. But I imagine some lady will penetrate it again one day. I hope she's the right one. I was depressed because I was very much in love with my wife at the time, and I couldn't bear the thought of the rejection. My ego is much too heavy, or whatever I want to say, too big, too wild, too whatever, to accept rejection. And I was rejected, and I had to learn the lessons of rejection, and it's done a great deal to heal my ego and to make me realize that I am probably not the king of the earth as I've always felt I was.
Is that what you're...
I'm now a prince.
Was that what your mom told you when you were little, that you were...
No, it's interesting.
Better than the other kids?
No, she never did that. I never played with the other kids when I was a little boy. I didn't start playing with the kids until I was well in my teens. I was always a loner, which is, I guess, is why I can grow and be alone now, rather nicely, without any too many problems.
The pain, for all of its awful moments, does it make the music better? Does it make the output better? Does it make the songs better?
Well, of course, if one wouldn't be, one could never be a fine artist if one hasn't lived and experienced most of life's negatives, I guess it's enough to say, and one would have to experience most of life positives also. You see, I guess I have gone from the depths of somewhat degradation to, I've probably risen to the heights of spirituality in some cases also. I felt nearly there spiritually sometimes, and I felt like the gates of hell were open for me at other times. And I don't imagine an artist can be a good artist unless he's experienced something similar to that. Else I don't have very much to write about, do I?
Do you look upon the Motown days as the good old days?
No.
No.
I look upon the Motown days as one of the experiences in my life that I wouldn't give $1 million for. And I look upon the Motown days as unique experience, and experience that I would pay probably $1 million to have again. Motown was a very loving family in the early 60s. We were very close, very lovable, very loving, which causes me to wonder about it sometimes. But, pardon me, it's my fish, I think, coming up.
We'll edit around it, don't worry.
And I feel that I am very happy having had the opportunity to start my career at Motown Records, and I don't think I'd have it any other way. I'm very proud of Berry Gordy Jr., who is a black man who has managed to survive in such a competitive field of music. I have great respect for him. He's a very great man, actually, and in fact, it's interesting. I've always been in a good rapport with him, not because I was in the family, but because, of course, it helped a lot. I was quite, for all my problems now, I was much worse, I guess you can imagine, when I was younger. Probably totally uncontrollable. I'm very stubborn, I'm arrogant, I'm egotistical, I'm also lovable, I'm also warm. I'm a lot of things, but it depends. I'm principled, I'm unprincipled sometimes. I am probably quite schizophrenic. I'm very difficult to live with. I don't imagine any woman could live with me for any appreciable amount of time. It's been proven all my life, and I'm afraid I'll accept that. I think that being with Motown has been an incredible experience for me, and I've loved it. I have some magnificent memories, and I wouldn't pay anything for them.
Do you have a nostalgic feeling about it, that like if to turn the clock back and live those years again, or have them be now?
Oh, well, no. I don't think I'd like to turn the clock back in that sense, not to come off sounding hypocritical again. But what I'm saying is, I wouldn't like to start all over and do the same thing. Yes, I would like to start again with Motown, but perhaps because of the environment, if I had my way, I'd just sort of like to rewrite the script a little bit so that I could be a bit happier. But I enjoyed the environment very much. It was my learning ground, you know, Stevie, the Supremes, the Temps, we all helped each other in the studio. It was quite fun. I learned most of my musicianship when I first came to Motown years ago, and it was great fun for me. I would have probably paid them for the opportunity, you see.
You feel that this, with sexual healing and the success you're having now, is a real comeback, and you see another part of your life beginning, a sense that a door has opened?
Well, I'm not sure, because I'm not doing an awful lot about it presently. I mean, I'm not gigging.
You're not what?
I'm not working.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I won't work, but I'm not working presently. If what you're asking is if I'm anxious to go out and earn the bread and start a whole new career and look upon my success at this time as a whole new start in life, yes, in a sense it is for me. In a sense it's a coup de grace. In a great sense, I have had a measure of revenge in certain aspects, and those who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about.
But tell me, what do you mean?
Well, I wouldn't like to go into that because it's rather personal, but I'm sure those who are listening to this know exactly what I mean, and we'll leave it at that. And I just would like to say that I'm a survivor, I think, and I feel I'm as good as anybody, and perhaps better.
Not to be specific about the revenge, but there must be a sense of, aha, I'm back on top, and I'll show you. Yes?
You know I'm honest, don't you? I think you're playing unfair, because I am honest. Yes, in a sense, yes, but not totally.
There's nothing wrong with that, though. That's to have those. Those are human, normal feelings to have.
Yeah, but that's just it. I don't want to feel human and normal. I just want to be an artist. I hate those human normal feelings. I like the feelings I have as an artist when I'm out in the woods in the rain or sitting by myself in the sun and having God shine on me. I like that calling much better. I don't like the idea of those other little nasty, nagging things that I like to get back at people because of my Aries blood and my tenacity or whatever I got. But yes, there's a certain satisfaction. I chuckle a lot.
I don't think so.
Amsterdam with the joint. I forgot I was in Amsterdam. So I said, you don't need to do that here.
They're going to open the restaurant at 6. Okay. Well, let's hope there are not a lot of people eating at 6 o'clock at night in Los Angeles. Let's hope they wait till...
Beautiful restaurant.
Isn't it pretty? Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right.
Yes, sir.
This whole revenge thing is interesting because when I accepted my American Music Award from Dick Clark, I had this marvelous acceptance speech already to say these nice things cleverly and get back at those that I thought needed a few words of encouragement. And I don't know if you saw the show, but I paused for a few seconds and something told me, don't be ridiculous, just accept this award and say thank you and praise God and get the heck off the stage.
How about a Grammy? Like to have one?
I'd love to win a Grammy. I've sat at the Grammys so many years now hoping I'd win an award, and Lou Rawls has won them all from me. So I don't think I'm bitter about that, but the very last time he won one from me, gave me such a smile, I got chills from it. It was number 3, and I told my wife I was going to tackle him and get him down off the stage and grab it and cause a big stink at the Grammys. But she didn't think that was too wise an idea, so I didn't. But perhaps I'll win one this time. I've never won an award except for the one I won at the American Music Awards, the first award I've won in my career, and I found it most gratifying. I loved it, and if I win a Grammy, I'll be very happy, very thrilled. I'm nominated in 3 categories. Perhaps I'll win one.
I want to ask about discrimination on the radio. Is there discrimination on the radio? Black artists discriminated against on certain AM and some FM stations?
Well, of course, there's lots of it. Not only is there discrimination, but there is tampering with one's art, which drives me berserk. I wouldn't think that Leonardo da Vinci would put up with somebody putting a different sort of finger on the Mona Lisa, or an ear, or changing an ear or a nose or the eyes or something. He's an artist, and when he finishes his work, it's his work. It's his life's work. It's his blood and his sweat and his tears. And I don't feel people should tamper with an artist's work. In music, they feel, disc jockeys and music people feel awfully free with editing and splicing and changing things about, and it drives me crazy. In fact, it's the reason why I left Motown and why I asked Berry Gordy to release me. My last album in our lifetime was tampered with horribly, and it was abominable to me, and I couldn't deal with it anymore, and which is basically why I asked to be released. And I find that disc jockeys will add things to your records and take things off and lengthen your intros and change your bridges around and things, and I go totally bananas, and I feel that someone should institute some sort of lawsuit, and perhaps that sort of thing can be changed. I don't feel that that's right for them to tamper with an artist's music. I really don't. I don't feel it should be touched. I would rather didn't play my music than to touch it. Frankly, I would. I don't care if I had a hit. If I never had a hit, I'd rather they don't touch it.
Why don't many AM and some FM stations play black artists?
Well, traditionally, black artists are, well, you see, you have to go back a bit, dear, you see, because a few years, you see, it's taken a few years, about 400 or so, for white America to come to the point where they feel that rhythm and blues, as we call it, or rhythm and pop, these categories kill me too. is acceptable in the homes of white America. There was a time when you couldn't bring a soul record in the home in white America. You just get that record out of here. You know, I mean, you're not going to listen to that stuff. It all started with the rock and roller. You see, when Elvis and everybody was sort of taking after Chuck Berry and all and so slowly it started to change. I said, well, Jesus Christ, Mom, if my white favorite acts are doing music that's akin to Chuck Berry and Little Richard and everything, I like that stuff. But okay, it's okay, you can bring that in here. But Mom, it's the same music really basically that the black people are doing. It sort of changed it around a little bit. It's a white artist doing it. But basically it's the same stuff. Yeah, but it's a white artist doing it. It's okay, it's acceptable. We don't want any black artists doing it here because it's too raw. Well, there's something about being raw. You see, let's take reggae, for instance. Bob Marley is very interesting because what he's done is he's taken his roots music, and the roots are there, very raw and very rootsy. But Bob Marley's intelligent enough, or was intelligent enough, God bless him and I love him, to take the roots, leave it rootsy, and incorporate some of the Western type music on top of it, and integrate certain things into music to take the rawness of it so that it can sort of be accepted by other nationalities. Because simply if you don't feel something or you don't understand something, you kind of say, I don't understand that, so I can't get into that. I can understand Montefiore and Lawrence Welk, but I can't understand this. So you see, it's simply a matter of blending and coming together. Music is universal. Music belongs to no one. Music belongs to God. And so, as the business is becoming the way it's becoming today, it seems that there seems to be a coming together all over the world of music. And it's going to come to a point where there will probably be no more categories. After a while, music will simply be music. However you do it, and it'll be accepted. It's fastly coming to that, but there are those in the business who insist on holding on to the last vestiges of their prejudices, you see? Meaning, a little simple thing like winning an American Music Award, and then winning in all the categories, and then you watch the television the next day, and then you want to see yourself in your category, and they say, and the pop singer of the year is blah, 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 Roger Dalton or blah, 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 any white pop act. And then they'll go back down the list, and then you don't see any rhythm and blues acts on the TV. It's like we're not prestigious enough to put who won in the black soul categories. We'll omit that because it's not that sort of thing to do. But it sort of burns my craw a little bit. I'm a rhythm and blues artist and a soul artist and a black singer. But I'm intelligent enough to want to sing my black music and still be intelligent, still have feelings. I'm a human being, so I sing black music. But it doesn't take anything from my intelligence factor, doesn't take anything from my humanness, it doesn't take anything from my empathy, as I said before, my love. Why shouldn't I be categorized? Marvin Gaye won in the soul category. I'm a person too, I'm a musician. There are musicians who borrow my music and they become famous and they can get their names on TV in their categories borrowing my music, but I can't be on the TV shown that I won too? No, that isn't very nice.
It isn't very nice. You were written to by a disc jockey in Ohio, I think it was, who was fired.
Oh, by the way, I must say something about it. Ted Turner did show the Ted Turner News Agency did show the R&B category winners.
Good for them.
Yes, I thought I'd give Ted a shot.
Good.
I think he's a good man.
Tell me about the young woman disc jockey who was fired.
Well, there was some business about, there was a pretty middle of the road, well, maybe far right station, and in Ohio, and apparently the lyrics of Sexual Healing, or perhaps just the title is too suggestive to play on certain radio stations, which I can understand.
But do they also play the suggestive lyrics of the Rolling Stones?
Yes. Yes, of course, but, well, darling, you see, it simply depends. You see, there's, we have to sort of come along slowly, which is okay. I don't mind coming along slowly. I'm about to play out. I'm 43 years old, and I don't imagine I'll be in the business but another 10 or so years. And my predecessors will probably enjoy lots of the media coverage and non-prejudicial prejudicial treatment that my contemporary artists of the day are not enjoying. I can see things changing. Perhaps before I'm retired, and when I retire, I guarantee you I will retire. I don't imagine I will see things the way I would like to see them totally in my lifetime before I retire, but I'm sure that my predecessors, young black artists who are coming up, will see tremendous changes in the business as it goes along. I can see many changes being made, many attitudes changing, and I'm sure we'll get there in time, just like we are enjoying a measure of freedom in America as black people that we've never enjoyed before. It takes time, but eventually we'll get there.
Mind if they should?
10 minutes. No, not at all. Because, I mean, people kind of know that I have a terrible memory and have to look down and say, oh, I wanted to remember to ask
Marvin Gaye
you.
is dead, allegedly killed by his father. Why did it happen? Terry Drinkwater looked for the answer.
Bad blood between father and son. That was what the police called it today. Fans this afternoon who passed the family home where it happened played his music and prayed for the soul from which it came.
Well, there's God and the devil. And the devil just won this one this time, but still the force of God's going to win in the end, I think.
The dispute, authorities now conclude, began Saturday night, an argument over insurance between the 69-year-old minister and his renowned son. The shouting continued Sunday, and then
the argument turned physical. There was some pushing and shoving, and apparently Marvin Jr. was getting the better of that, and the mother interceded and separated them. Moments later, the father reappeared. He had a handgun with him, and he fired 2 shots, fatally wounding Marvin Gaye.
No drugs, no alcohol going on, heard it through the grapevine, and sexual healing. He was loved by millions of fans and 3 children. Today, he would have been 45. Terry Drinkwater, CBS News, Hollywood.
Gaye died at this Los Angeles hospital, a gunshot wound to the chest. He'd been shot during a fight at his parents' house, and police say his father pulled the trigger.
He became involved in a verbal dispute with his father, Marvin Gaye Sr. That subsequently led to a physical dispute and pushing and shoving. Marvin Gaye Sr. armed himself with a handgun and fired several shots, wounding Marvin Gaye Jr.
Police have charged the elder Gaye with murder. They say father and son had been arguing about insurance, but they believe there had been bad blood before that. Gaye's death came at a time when he was making a comeback after years of problems, both personal and professional.
Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye.
Just last year, he won a Grammy for the song began more than 20 years ago. Despite all those hits, Marvin Gaye, in his own mind, never made it to the top.
I don't know where that is. Never did, actually. I'm awfully afraid of getting there. It isn't, I don't know where one can go after that. It looks to me like down.
Brother, there's far too many of you die.
Marvin Gaye would have been 45 years old tomorrow. Andrea Naverson, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Here today, Father, we don't need to escalate. Oh, it's not the answer, for only love can conquer hate.
We're in the matter of Marvin Penns Gaye Sr., case number A751295. Matter is here for arraignment and plea. Could I have the appearance of counsel, please?
Don Brack for the people.
Philip M. Schreiber for the defendant, Marvin Gaye Sr.
Mr. Schreiber, your client is charged in count 1 with a violation of 187 of the Penal Code with a special allegation of personally using a firearm. Are you ready to enter a plea at this time?
I'm not ready to enter a plea at this particular time, Your Honor. I wish to make a motion with respect respect to the defendant, it is my opinion that this matter should be referred to Department 95 for an evaluation concerning mental competency. I feel that such evaluation would be necessary and essential for me to defend this gentleman and for him to aid in his own defense.
Do you believe that he is presently clearly incapable of understanding the nature and the purposes of this proceeding and also unable to conduct his own defense or to assist you in conducting his own defense?
I have good reason to have that opinion, Your Honor.
Just so we can keep this matter going in a timely fashion, would you be willing to waive further arraignment, further statement of rights, and I will enter a plea of not guilty for him?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. The court will enter a plea of not guilty for Mr. Gaye. It appears that Mr. Gaye, based on the comments of counsel, would qualify under 1360.
Held today in Los Angeles. Yesterday, thousands of fans got a chance to pay their last respects. Marvin Gaye's father is charged with murdering him. The prosecutor explained why the charges were raised to first-degree murder.
Gaye's senior
First shot was fired at some distance. The second shot was fired at close to point-blank range. So apparently he moved in, indicating he had time to reflect on what he was about to do, which would elevate it from a manslaughter to a murder.
Marvin Gaye's father has been ordered to undergo psychiatric
Los Angeles Mayor
tests.
Tom Bradley declared this a day of mourning for Marvin Gaye, who was fatally shot Sunday. Terry Drinkwater was there as family, friends, and fans remembered.
So many who had been on stage with him came. Diana Ross called him the most wonderful of men.
I like to raise people's consciousness, he said. I like to give them hope. Well, Brother Marvin, you did that.